Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're doing an 8-4 Magic Origins draft. Wow, very strong cards in here. We have Whirler Rogue. We do have Tragic Arrogance, which is really strong board wipe. I still feel like I'd probably take Whirler Rogue, just because it's so many bodies that you get. But Tragic Arrogance is very good. Tragic Arrogance definitely gets better when you have like suppression bonds and stuff too. I mean, it's a powerful rare. It's a really difficult pick actually. It's like a board wipe spell versus probably the most powerful uncommon in the format. I think I'm going Whirler Rogue. I just like this card more. Tragic Arrogance is good though. It's a tough pick. Okay, follow-up pick. Well, nothing in blue. Swift Reckoning is probably the strongest card here. There is Wild Instincts, though. Wild Instincts potentially better than Swift Reckoning. White's probably a more popular color than green. Swift Reckoning's cheaper removal. Maybe that makes it better than Wild Instincts, but it's also more specific, slightly more narrow. Does not destroy vigilance creatures. Blue-white archetype's probably a little bit more... Well, it's not necessarily better than the blue-green one. Yeah, it's really Swift Reckoning versus Wild Instincts, and I'm not exactly sure what I like more. I think I'm going to go Swift Reckoning. It doesn't require you to have a creature. It doesn't get you 2-for-1 if your opponent has like a bounce spell or removal. Well, immediately potential reward with Thunderclap Wyvern. There's also a War Oracle in here, which is pretty insanely good and definitely pushes people into white, which makes it challenging. But I think Thunderclap Wyvern is a bonkers card in general. I actually like this card more and more as I've played this format more, and it already works insanely well with Whirler Rogue, so I think I'm going to go Wyvern. I think War Oracle is at least a serious consideration, but Wyvern. Okay, so most powerful card in this pack is probably Possess Scab. Zendikar Incarnate is pretty strong too. I think we're just going to go Watercourser because it's a solid pick. And it stays. I mean, at this point, the cards that I have in blue and white are powerful enough where I would like to continue down the blue and white path. I'm willing to move out of either color, I guess, if it comes to that. But, I mean, I could take Possess Scab now. But Watercourser is just very good. You can really play infinite of them and not be upset. So I think I'm going to go Watercourser. I'm just going to hope I can potentially make blue-white come together. Like I said, it's very likely white's going to be getting cut out of this pack, though. We passed War Oracle and a couple of those 3-2 Renowned Knights. Not that the 3-2s are that insane, but the War Oracle's pretty awesome. Calculated Dismissal and Enlightened Ascetic are not exciting enough, I don't think, to pick here. I think the best card might be Empath. I like Empath quite a bit. I don't think the Dismissal, Ascetic, or Nivix Barrier are really the cards that I'm looking for. They're just not powerful enough. So, I mean, Empath's not bonkers either, but it just feels awkward to pick anything else. And Enlightened Ascetic is okay, but it's just a sideboard card. I guess I'll go Empath in case green is maybe where we're supposed to be. Maybe green-blue. Okay, so Turn Frog is okay. I don't really like the card all that much, but it seems like something we could play. Otherwise, I could take Rock Mauler, go deeper green, possibly start to get out of white. kind of as expected, white was getting cut. I could take Turn to Frog here. I'm probably okay with Rocks Mauler. I think this card's pretty good. Turn to Frog, though, is not terrible. We already have plenty of creatures that block it. It's kind of a situational removal, though. I'm not the biggest Turn to Frog fan. I don't think it's awful, but I'm going to go Mauler here. I feel like I can find better removal. Okay. Well, there is white removal here, but I think we're just going to go Orchard Spirit. It kind of seems like we're getting some fairly late green cards that are good. Celestial Flare is fine too, but if I had to choose one, I guess I would prefer to play blue for Whirler Rogue than white for Swift Reckoning. I could try Zindakar's Royal here. There is Yiva's Force Mage. I'm not the biggest fan, but I have been not wrecked by it, but annoyed by Force Mage in the past. It's good for a beatdown deck. I kind of want to try Royal out. I mean, it's kind of a do-nothing enchantment, but at the same time, rewards Flood. I guess we'll take Force Mage. I don't love it, but we might maybe even end up in a green-white beatdown deck. I mean, green-white beatdown, Force Mage is going to look insane. But I think we're more likely, maybe we're mono-green beatdown, who knows? Seems like we haven't seen good white or blue in a while. This is kind of just a weak remaining pack. I really don't think we need a Deep Sea Terror if we've already got a couple green fatties. Bone to Ash is a pretty lackluster card. Deadbridge Shaman's the strongest one here. Maybe a wheeled Deadbridge Shaman is a sign that I'm supposed to be in black. I just don't really care enough about Bone to Ash to take it. Alright, I mean, Warhorn's a card. This doesn't strike me as the deck for it. Although with Whirler Rogue it's good, but we don't even know if we're going to play Whirler Rogue yet. Let's just take the Gorger. I mean, all we really learned from this pack is that green is open. We did not really get much of an impression for what our second color is supposed to be yet. I think white is not going to be open. I think that's a fairly safe assessment. We passed a little bit too much powerful white. Aerial Volley is a great sideboard card, I would think, against your standard Thopter tokens or other cards like that. Instant speed removal seems decent. So this deck just needs cheaper threats, but we also need to kind of establish our second color, which we haven't quite done yet. I would like it to be blue, but considering we only managed to pick up 2 blue cards, albeit 2 powerful blue cards, we'll take... Isn't this card's actually playable, I'm pretty sure. So we'll take that. Okay, so yeah, I think the chance of white being open is pretty much non-existent. We passed Tragic Arrogance, we passed Renowned Guys. It seems like blue's not open either, though. I probably just want to first pick Leaf Gilder here. I mean, Avaricious Dragon is a card and all, but I don't know if I want to branch into red now. I think Leaf Gilder might be right up this deck's alley, actually, though. We've already got some good top end. You get enough Leaf Gilders and you can jam some more. Maybe we just play like a solid little beatdown deck. Tower Geist is insane. I could just take it, but I kind of feel like blue is not necessarily going to be open. And I don't know if I want to force my way into it. I feel like we really did not see much in the blue. And I'm trying to interpret how late, that late of a Deadbridge Shaman, if I'm supposed to be going for that. I think Leaf Gilder is fine here. It's a good ramp card. Tower Geist is a better card, but if I don't end up in blue, I'm going to kick myself for grabbing Tower Geist because I'm definitely in green, and Leaf Gilder is good for this deck. So I think I'm going to take Leaf Gilder. Geez, Languish? Well, past a Languish, maybe that's the sign I need to... I mean, Languish is very strong. I probably just take it. Maybe I go green-black. Just because I'm past a Languish doesn't necessarily mean that black is open, but I kind of wanted it to be because of the Deadbridge Shaman. I'll take Languish. It's pretty Really powerful card, and we're not really passing anything else I care about. Eyeblight Massacre, I mean, we're absolutely in the right colors for it. There is a Conclave Naturalist, though, which I think is really powerful in this format as well. I mean, Eyeblight Massacre works well with our Leaf Gilder, Shaman, Force Mage, but... and Empath. So, I mean, we already have a decent start, but I think Languish is just the better card than Massacre. I think I'm actually going to take Naturalists here. I think Elvish Visionary is quite good, too. And Throwing Knife would be something I actually think would be okay for this deck, but Naturalist is pretty incredibly good. Evolutionary Leap is pretty interesting. Shadows of the Past is a card I actually do like. It's a good win condition card. Works best in a control-ish deck. Evolutionary, I mean, it actually works well with Evolutionary Leap. I don't think Evolutionary Leap's all that good. I think it's okay. I think I actually might just want Read the Bones. I think we're likely just going to go down a green-black path. Kind of carving out black from this direction. Definitely got green pack 1. I think we're still getting green. I'm going to take Read the Bones here. Fetid Imp is quite good, especially in a deck that's already got a good late game plan. Fetid Imp can give you some really nice early defense. I like it. Reeve Soul, great sign for black. Well, I feel like we're in the right colors. So the good news is we're in the right colors. Bad news is we were a little bit late to get into it. Jeez, Wild Instincts too? We are getting hooked up, folks. Going to take it over the Trapper despite being in the right colors for a Trapper deck. Shaman of the Pack, you know, it's actually a pretty decent card. I'll take it. Even if you don't have a ton of elves, 3 mana, 3/2 is acceptable. And we actually do have at least a couple elves, so it's more exciting than a second Gather the Pack. Although this card fills your graveyard, I guess, for the Shadows of the Past. I actually think Necromantic Summons is a fine card. I like it. Kind of works well with Gather the Pack. It obviously works well if any of your guys die. I'll take it. It's more interesting, I think, than a Goldforge Sentinel for this deck. I actually think Guardian Automaton is something I could consider, but I think Necromantic Summons is a little more interesting. And this strikes me as a deck that could possibly have Spell Mastery, although this card lets you bring from any graveyard, which I think is pretty good, although we don't really have a ton of hard removal per se. Wild Instincts is pretty good with a fatty. Seems like a pretty good opportunity to get Eyeblight Assassin. I think this card is very good in this format, and a third Vastwood Gorger seems a bit unnecessary at this point. Certainly have enough win conditions in the late game. I think at this point we just need... I wouldn't mind another Leaf Gilder, to be honest. Second Leaf Gilder would be nice. Our removal is actually pretty good. Languish seems good with our kind of late game plan, although Maulers needs Renown and Naturalist doesn't survive it, so I guess it's not insane. I'll take the Scarring. It seems unlikely we'll play it, but I'll cut black. I doubt we're going to play the Slug. I actually think Dismissal is kind of decent against our deck, so I'm going to hate that. Oromancer is a fine card for a deck that maybe has 100 weighted the Underworlds or something like that, but other than that, I'm not too impressed with it. Alright, I guess Enlightened Ascetic. Do we even have any enchantments? I could take the Majoring Network. It seems like a pretty difficult card to ever want to play. I'll take it anyway. I'll leave it as a consideration, but it seems like a card that takes too much investment to actually pay dividends in the end. Slugs. Alright, well, fairly successful pack 2 for that kind of late Deadbridge Shaman sign. kind of indicated to me that black was open. We ended up getting some pretty good black picks out of this pack. The Languish, the Reeve Soul, that was fairly late, Fetid Imp, late Eye Blight Assassin. So, like I said, I believe that we are in the correct colors. It's just sort of a bummer because I was doing something completely different in the beginning, but that's okay. I think obviously I'm happier being in the right colors than I would be forcing a few good cards in colors that were getting cut. Well, we opened Chandra, so is that a foil one? No. Got my hopes up for a second there. Otherwise, I think we'd just slam pick a Reeve Soul, but what's Chandra worth anyway? She's worth about 5.5 tickets, so she's also a really good limited card. So I am passing Reeve Soul, which kind of sucks. Empath and Force Mage would also be fine, but 5.5 tickets, here we come. Doesn't feel right to pass a Planeswalker, especially one that pays for so much of this draft. But otherwise, I think Reeve Soul would be the correct pick. Well, there's a Despoiler of Souls, but I think I would prefer the Wild Instincts. It's probably just better. It's very good removal. It's also an Antuco Husk, although it's not all that insane. Wild Instincts, on the other hand, is just very good. I think Despoiler of Souls is okay, though. I'm still going to take the removal. We're actually not, like, super heavy removal in this deck right now. Languish, double Wild Instincts. I could even get to 8 mana and maybe Wild Instinct something, then Languish. I guess that wouldn't work that well. I'd probably still end up losing my creature I fought with. But regardless, Wild Instincts is a good card. It's very good with the Fetid Imp. Oddly enough, no good green or black. There is Nissa's Pilgrimage. I'm still just not a big fan of the card. There's Undead Servant. It seems pretty late to try and get on that plan. I think Weight of the Underworld is the pick, although not a very exciting one, admittedly. It's playable, though. It is removal. Just not the ideal removal. There's better white cards in here, oddly enough, and insane red cards. So far, well, I guess what? That's only my... Well, my first pick was Chandra, second pick was Wild Instincts, third pick was Weight of the Underworld. So 2 out of 3 of my pack 3 picks were pretty lackluster. So I'd like to get some more early game, if at all possible. I think Veteran Sidearm is not much of a consideration anymore. Sword of the Animist. Well, Sword of the Animist is good because it ramps me to my late game. Orchard Spirit is good because cheap evasive creature. I mean, Sword of the Animist is only okay. It does ramp me. I just don't feel like... It's almost like Veteran Sidearm, the same sort of problem. I just feel like I don't have enough cheap stuff to equip it to. Whereas Orchard Spirit at least has the benefit of... It's more of a beatdown card is the problem with Orchard Spirit. But it is evasive. I'm going to take the Spirit. Very lackluster pack. Seem to be really missing here in the end. Could take Macabre Waltz. It's okay value. Third Vassud Gorger seems suspect. Although maybe I'm an 18 land deck and I play a third Gorger. I don't like having all those 6 drops. I think I do actually take the Macabre Waltz, but prefer to not main deck it. We just need some actual cheap spells in this deck. Alright, I guess we slam a Deadbridge Shaman here. We're just looking for as many cheap threats as we can get. I'd like 2-drop or 1-drop, but Caterpillar doesn't really seem like a good main deck choice, and Ram Roller has to attack each turn, so I think Deadbridge Shaman is the pick. This deck's okay right now. This pack has been pretty bad for us, but we're still in an okay spot. We might be 18 land. We do have Leaf Gilder, though. Jeez. Another miss? I don't know why we're missing so much. That's kind of weird. Touch of Moonglove. Does that synergize well with anything? Not really. Kind of Wild Instincts, but... Guess we'll take the Centaur, but it's not a very good card. What does it fuel? Fuels Necromantic Summons. I guess something I can do. Works fairly well with Wild Instincts. Alright, here's a Visionary, which is much needed for our deck. I'm going to take it over the Might of the Masses. I'm going to take the Construct. It seems like something our deck really wants, seeing as it's a cheap creature. So maybe we do cut the Return Centaur. Maybe we do cut the Necromantic Summons. Just stick to a more green-black sort of build here. None of these cards matter. I really doubt I would play Dark Dabbling, especially since it doesn't even protect from Languish. I think I'm going to take the Scout, which is just the most aggressive. I'm comfortable playing this with 17 lands and a Leaf Gilder. I think this is okay. Our curve is mostly 3 and 4. This deck's not insane, though, by any stretch. Could take a second Aerial Volley. We don't really have much in the flying protection department at all, and we're not going to play an Undead Servant, so okay. We have a good anti-skies plan, which I think is cool. This deck's, it's not mediocre. It's slightly better than mediocre, but this pack 3, I think, hurt the deck quite a bit, which is kind of confusing to me since black and green certainly seemed open in packs 1 and 2. It could be just not a ton of black and green spells were necessarily opened out of this pack. I did pick a Chandra over a second Reeve Soul, which admittedly would look good. I'm not going to play Reclaim, so I'll hate this, which can be annoying. Cobble Brute. It seemed like red was open in this last pack. But here's our deck. Not really tooling around much anymore with this. I think this is what we're going to run it as. It's acceptable. How good or bad is Gather the Pack? I guess it's okay. It's not like it's an unplayable card. It's something to do early to find a Deadbridge Shaman or Orchard Spirit. I don't love it, though. But there's really not much else to play. I could play a Necromantic Summons over Gather the Pack, but that seems like a bad idea because Gather the Pack fuels your Necromantic Summons. It's almost like both cards want to be in the deck. I could take Macabre Waltz and play that over Gather the Pack, but I'm not thrilled with that either. I think I probably just run it like this. So, need double black, don't need double green. I think we're still going to err towards, well, I guess I could err towards black. We have more green in the deck, but most of it's late game, and we actually need double black. That's actually interesting. I wonder if I actually just go 9-8 the other way, since I actually need double black, and as long as I see one green, I'm good. How much more green than black? I have quite a bit more green than black, but we're still pretty even as far as colors go in the bottom of the curve. I guess I'm running it like this. This deck's okay. I've had better, I've had worse. We have some decent removal. Fetid Imp is a good defensive creature. Reeve Soul, Assassin can be good. Languish and Weight of the Underworld and double Wild Instincts. So we have the means to kill things. We also have double Aerial Volley out of sideboard, as well as Macabre Waltz and Necromantic Summons, which I think are some decent sideboard options. Did pick up a Chandra, but not playing her. Alright, well, I guess this is the deck. We'll run it like this, and we'll see you round 1.